Now, that's okay. Bye.
Okay, we are live, everyone, just so you're aware.
Thanks, Ben.
As long as Karen is coming on, I'd like to call to order the open session. Pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46, 5A1, any persons being discussed or affected were given advance notice of the executive hearing in writing, and advised that they may be required to have such discussion be held at an open meeting. May I have a motion to move into executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're now in executive session. Superintendent, do you want to start it off?
Wait.
Hey, Ben, are we in executive
Wait.
session?
Hold on just one moment. I have to send everybody just a moment.
Okay.
Jessica.
Oh, thanks.
All right, you should have a message on your screen to enter executive session. Sharon, I'm sending you in as well.
I don't,
Went to try to tackle it. And I guess he loaded the clip already. It just doesn't make sense.
Sharon, you'll have to accept the invitation to the executive session if you're going in. All right. Did I miss anybody? I don't know. All right, I'm just going to put up a sign that says they're in executive session. So
Wait, Celeste doesn't need to be in there?
Celeste and Sandy, do you usually attend those executive sessions? I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, Sandy's not there either.
Celeste, you're muted.
I'm sorry.
Sometimes we don't, so I don't really know what the superintendent wanted for tonight.
Well, I'm sure she'll let us know if she's expecting anyone else.
Okay.
All right, but if anyone gets a call from the super, let me know, and I'll add you to the meeting.
Ben? Ben, are you there?
I am here. Yes, Bob.
I sent you, I shared that AP report for you. So when I'm up, could you present that for me?
Of course.
Okay, thank you.
I can give you the ability to present as well.
And each section is on the left-hand side. So after I'm done with each test, you can just hit the next section, okay? Thank you, Ben. Ben?
Yes.
Who should I contact tomorrow morning if I need some more Chromebooks?
You could just drop in a ticket. We'll get them all dropped off to you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, Bob.
I had quite a few come by today, and I got a bunch coming by tomorrow.
Yep, of course. No problem.
Thank you, Ben.
Anytime.
Bob. Bob, are you-
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When is that Sky Alert going out?
Well, I was going to hold it until the schedules go live tomorrow.
Okay, but it's going out tomorrow?
It's going out. And I try
Okay.
to make it as short and concise as possible.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm getting a ton of emails about,
Schedules?
yeah, even mostly distance learning.
Mhm.
An email confirming, which we sent emails, but then even just wondering what the plan is.
Mhm.
So,
I will send another Sky Alert email tomorrow that will review all the information that I sent back 2 weeks ago. So
okay,
that may refresh everybody's memory.
okay. I've been just kind of forwarding the student emails that you sent out. I've been forwarding those to all the parents.
Yeah, but I will send out one to the community again.
Okay,
And I'll try to simplify it a little bit more because I think, people just get confused or they, so I will just look at it, cut back on some verbiage and
Okay.
just look at that information regarding the schedules.
okay. And can you just add in there that anyone that requested distance learning, I don't know if it was in there originally, but anyone that requested distance learning has been granted distance learning?
Yes, I will include that. That was not in the first communication to the community, no.
All right, maybe
I
that will slow the flow of emails.
Yeah, I will. I know. I've been getting a ton of them too. So,
I know.
Yeah, I
All
will
right,
do that.
that should help.
Okay, it should. It should.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Dr. Ferran, the deans are also going to send out information tomorrow. We sent those packets to the teachers today, and we'll send it to the students tomorrow. The student
Okay.
handbook and the addendum.
Great.
I think the deans had a great idea for advisory next week. They'll have a Zoom meeting with all the advisories
That's good. Yeah.
and review all the important information that we discussed last week. I mean, the other day, and go into a little bit more detail regarding what I'm going to send via Sky Alert tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Gibbons, you've got the summons. I'm going to send you into the executive session. Just give me a moment.
Okay. Are we all back? Yeah.
Good
I think
question.
we're just waiting
Has
on
Ben,
Charlie. Nope, there's Charlie. Tony here.
Everybody's back.
Okay, is Ben, we're all set to go? Are we streaming?
Yep, yeah, we've been streaming the whole time. You're ready to go.
Good.
Right.
I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Get up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of
United
the United States of America.
which is
To the
stand.
republic
One
for
nation.
which it stands,
Indivisible.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There were no votes taken in executive session, and I will ask for a motion by a committee member to seal the executive session minutes pursuant to applicable provisions of Rhode Island General Law 42, 46, 4, 5, and 8. May I have a motion, please?
Make motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are sealed. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Communications, correspondence, homeschool requests, approval of minutes, August 5, August 11, August 18, 25, and September 1st, school committee meetings, and August 10th, 2020 building committee meeting. Any questions or discussion?
I just want to call your attention to the NEASC letter. They have postponed the NEASC visit. So the dates are there. Welcome, Toby. As we move into our first NEASC visit in 2021, which is a preliminary visit, and then the following spring. So I just want to call that to your attention.
Any other discussion or questions on the consent agenda?
I just have a question about the homeschool. Is that normal for this? Are we
We're
Are we-
slightly, Jessica, we are
we are
slightly
slightly higher than
Yeah.
normal?
than
Okay,
normal now.
that
Yeah.
is be expected during the pandemic.
Yes.
Okay. I had the number and now it's hard to do this on two computers. I don't, this is difficult for me. I apologize because I have my regular computer with all the numbers and then this computer that I'm on. So I just want to do this because I do this when we are in public. I do tell the public how many homeschool requests we have because that has been asked of me. So if I can just give me 1 second so I can just do this for the public that are watching tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Jessica,
9. Yes.
I believe they're numbered.
Thank you so very much.
Might
whoever
help.
just- But mine's on like 7 pages. So we have 53.
yes, yeah.
53. Thank you, Tony. 53.
Mhm.
Any other discussion, comments, questions? What is the committee's?
Shall I just have a question on that? Because like Jess says, we follow that at every meeting.
We
And-
do.
And a lot of times we're, at the 5, 7, 8. Kathy, when, and I know we can answer with a yes or no. Would we relate a lot of this to the virus?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like a parent could just come in and say, rather than district learn, I'm going to just homeschool and that's it.
Have a problem with distance learning and the use of the computer and the hours that a child has to spend, so they might choose homeschooling as a result.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Kath,
welcome.
Another question to you, is it odd that people do not put information down when they homeschool, that they don't have specific information when they put down for homeschooling? Why does the school committee have to approve it, if you don't mind me asking?
It is a law. We don't really, we don't really approve it on level. It goes to school committee for approval. They have to hand us in the attendance at the end of the year only. And those are regulations by the state, homeschooling regulations that are state regulations.
So me as a school committee member tonight are approving this list of students that it will be homeschooling by their parents. What does that mean to me?
It probably doesn't mean anything to you at all. Yes, I know it's a little weak, but we can't demand anything more other than attendance. We do ask them to follow a curriculum, but the curriculum could be a religious curriculum. It could be our curriculum that they might be following from our website, and
Right.
you know, be a curriculum that they purchase online for the student, and all they're required to do is send us to attendance.
And also, we ask them to provide their address, their grade level, and a date of birth. But as we can see that some of that does not happen either.
Correct. We get a name and address because they should be residents of East Providence if they're going to be reporting attendance to us as for homeschooling. Every homeschooler affects our state aid numbers because we cannot count homeschoolers in our state aid numbers.
Do we check if they are residents of East Providence?
They come in and they go through the registration desk for homeschooling. Mary Ann Costa too, in Dr. Fran's office, she handles all of the homeschoolers. Yeah, we do get an ad.
So I guess maybe this is something that I need to check with the chairman and ask with the school committee association. We have been, since the General Assembly has passed many laws for the school committee to our powers to be I don't want to say taken away, lessened. I'm not sure why we still have to approve of this, because we don't see anything but names, and sometimes we see birth dates, sometimes we see addresses, sometimes we don't. I just think that this may open us up for other things, and that's
Right.
Ben Scungio to give you something.
I think we should ask Ben Scungio.
Yeah.
I would prefer to ask Ben Scungio at this point.
Okay.
But I would not stop anybody from homeschooling their children. But I just think that we don't need to approve this, because parents, like I had parents who were on this list that had heart palpitations because they were like, why does this have to be approved? I just want to teach my kids. And I was like, I don't know. I actually don't know. They
You're right.
Night to decide whether or not they can teach their kids. I don't know why it has to be approved by me. Because my say on whether you teach your kids means absolutely nothing. You can teach your kids anytime you want. Just like I can teach my kid anytime you want. I think you have more say on whether or not you can teach your kid than I have more say.
We'll ask Ben Scungio to give us an opinion as to why that's done.
Correct.
So,
Thank you.
Kathy, as a follow-up, and I think to Jessica's point, right, it kind of raises a question. In your experience, have you ever seen a school committee deny the request, and if so, on what ground? What possible grounds?
The reason that we reported, it is a state, accountability system that is that we have to account for the number of homeschoolers. We do report that to the state. Okay. Have I seen it? I have the school committee that questioned the ability of a parent to homeschool, or were they really taking their child out because the child wasn't coming to school anyway, and there were issues, and we were applying pressure as far as truancy, and the parent decides I'm going to homeschool. But we did not get anywhere with that.
I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, was that considered justifiable? So basically, so we're really voting to acknowledge the numbers.
Right, and then we hand that number into the state each year.
And it's, Joel, it's weird because the only time I've had to recuse myself almost ever is when a homeschool has happened, because a family member of mine has homeschooled and I've had to write a letter to the state attorney general's office. So it's kind of strange that's weird, So that's why I'm asking this is, I just wanted to know how this works, because we really don't do anything. We don't see the curriculum. We don't do anything.
No, you don't approve the curriculum.
We don't approve it.
No. And if it's,
yeah. So, and I just want to make sure,
If it's
you know,
state reporting, I'm
Right.
sorry, if it's state reporting, I mean, so is free and reduced as state reporting, and we don't have to approve, those
Exactly.
requests.
Yeah,
and I don't want to have anything to do with these people, if they are doing their job and they are teaching their children, that's what they do.
right.
That's
Right.
not what we're,
Oh, you don't want to get involved in that, right?
No.
Right. Nope. So we'll just get that.
Thank you.
okay.
No
Okay,
problem.
as everything falls under the consent agenda, we need a
Sorry.
motion. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second? Is there a second to Joel's motion?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion carries.
She's asking.
Oh, no.
The next item is public comment 1, agenda items. Karen, do we have any agenda items? Under public comment 1. Well, Ben,
Oh, yes, we do. Hang on just a moment. I will share that out.
Thank you, Ben.
Can you see that, Sharon?
I can. Can you just move it to the left a little, Ben, please? I can't see the right side of the wording. You can make it smaller if you have to. Thank you. That's good.
No, that's too small. Ben, a little bit larger, please. That's not, that's,
I can read it if you.
I don't, it was
Nope.
fine a minute ago.
Can you see it now, Sharon? Sorry
That's,
about
it's too big. It's overpowering the screen.
that. All right. Let me exit out of full screen then.
can you see that, Sharon?
I don't see anything yet.
Oh, I do. Why don't I just read it? The East Providence School District, oh, no,
No, that's not it, Kathy.
not it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
Sorry about
Nope.
that. Let me try to reshare it again. Hang on.
There you go.
That's good. The first one's from
There you
Fran
go. Yeah.
Brailsford, parent, grandparent of a student. The city at present has a number of empty buildings that are eyesores in the community. Now Oldham will become another. Maybe you should inform us all what the plans are for the Weed Enhanced Platt and Waters buildings before we have another ruin in Riverside. Have you any plans for increasing school space for elementary students? The next one is from Melinda Marshall, parent, grandparent of a student. I am against giving Oldham to the city. We need to keep our options open, especially in these trying times of COVID. I am a registered voter and my vote will reflect what you decide. KMG has showed me how powerful my vote can be. Residents are tired of politicians turning a deaf ear to what we think is best for the city we live in. We never should have shut down this school. Waddington is bursting at the seams in this time of social distancing. Seems like a lot of things are trying to be pushed through in this city at a time when we cannot be there to be heard. My vote will reflect what you decide today. Jane Crevier. The city is not a monopoly game board. The goal should not be to hurry and build whatever, wherever, and whenever you get to pass go. With all the other new developments happening, increasing residential living, why would you not stop and think you may need some more schools soon? Do not use Oldham School as a game piece.
And that's it for agenda items.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is the superintendent's report.
Yes, and the first thing on the agenda would be the AP scores by Mr. George Correa. Mr. Correa, could you give the school committee report on this year's AP scores?
Sure.
Please.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Ben, do you
Good
want to
evening.
project that?
Yep, just a moment. I'll put it up for you.
Can I just thank you for coming on tonight and doing this?
You're welcome.
I,
Thank you for stepping up late while we didn't have a principal. He's been just,
that is exactly why yes, thank you very much for doing this.
Okay, once again, good evening, everybody. Last year's exams were very different because given what happened on March 13th, AP really rebounded quite quickly and kind of reformulated their exams. And I'll show you as we go along on all the exams that were given. I think we had a pretty good year. And I say that when we measure our percentages with the percentage scores 3 or higher with the Rhode Island average. In the past, we trailed Rhode Island in most of the exams, and this year we actually beat the Rhode Island average. Okay, so we start off at what each slide will show is the number of students who took the exam, the mean score, the Rhode Island mean score, and the percentage of scores 3 or higher. 3 or higher means that it meets the standard for a college course, okay? So AP Biology, 7 students took the exam. The mean score was 2.57. The Rhode Island mean is 3.03. So 57% of the students who took the exam scored a 3 or higher, and the Rhode Island percentage on that is 68%. Okay, AP Calc, 100% of our students scored a 3 or better. Only six students took them, but if you look at the mean score and compare it to the Rhode Island mean score, they fared pretty well.
good.
AP Computer Science Principles. This was the second year of the course, and this was a big improvement over last year. Students who took the exam were 13. The mean score 2.77. Rhode Island mean 3.06. Once again, I reiterate that this is the second year that we had offered this course. The percentage of 3s or better, 53.8%, and it was a marked improvement over last year. This is a real accomplishment here. AP English Language and Comp, students taking the exam were 42. The mean score of our students was 2.98. The Rhode Island mean 3.06. But if you look at the number of students, with that many taking it, the number of students scoring a 3 or higher, 73.8%. That's higher than the Rhode Island percentage. This is also a marked improvement from previous years. The AP English Lit and Comp, students taking the exam 14, the mean score 3.29, higher than the Rhode Island mean. 78%, or actually 79% of the students who took the exam scored a 3 or better. And you'll see that's 17 points higher than the Rhode Island mean, than the Rhode Island percentage. We don't offer this course, but one of our students took the AP French Language and Culture, and he passed it with a score of 5. This we have to go to the drawing board. We'll be looking at the scope and sequence, and we'll be matching it with, we'll take a look at the test as well. We struggled here, but we will have improvement next year. The AP Spanish Language and Culture, 7 took the exam. 71% scored a 3 or higher. So while it's below the Rhode Island percentage, it's still a pretty good number. AP Stats. This is an improvement. We've been struggling with this, but this was an improvement from as many years as I can remember. So we're on the right track here. 33% scored a 3 or better, but I'd like you to take a look at that blue number. I can't really see it. The dark blue, which would be a 1. And in the past, that was more than 50%. So we're making progress here. United States government and politics. Traditionally, that's a 12th graders take US AP history. I'm sorry, my mistake. Could I pull back on that? This is the AP course that we offer to 9th graders. So it really varies from year to year. We struggled this year, but it's still better than last. The first year that we offered this to the 9th grade, we hit a home run. So, given that the 9th graders, it's uneven each year, but it's still pretty good and better than last year. AP US history, mostly populated by seniors. 59% got a 3 or better. Not too far away from the Rhode Island percentage, and a pretty good number taking the exam, 27%. AP World History, traditionally we do well. Our numbers were down this year from AP World History because many students went into AP Microeconomics. So the numbers should be higher again next year with AP World History. But the mean score, a 3, 64% scored a 3 or higher, which matches the Rhode Island percentage. And that's it. Overall, pretty good performance, given that the most of the AP teachers had to adapt really quickly in terms of what the exam is going to look like. AP gave us a number of models to show because it was all going to be writing. There was no multiple choice here. So in most of the tests, we really did pretty well this year. I think that when we're meeting the Rhode Island mean, and traditionally in some of those tests, we trailed some of the Rhode Island mean considerably. So we closed the gap this year, and in some cases we beat the Rhode Island mean. So we're on the right track.
Any questions?
Sure.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Jeff.
Joel, I'm gonna let you go first, and
Well,
then I'm
yeah, I'll just-
hope Toby has a question, and then I'm gonna go.
On the
Thank you.
spot.
So, Ms.
Yeah,
Ms. Curry, again, thank you very much. And I agree. It's it's good to see these numbers that have come up, because I do remember, a few years back, seeing a significant difference to the negative in our favor, or not in our favor, I should say, in comparison to the state. Question on the math side of things. I've had these conversations with superintendent in the past. We previously had a practice of combining AP and honors instruction. Are we no longer doing that?
In terms of combining, no, those AP classes are standalone. So
I'm sorry.
they stand alone. Like, for example,
Okay.
AP Calc. By the way, not every student this year, and I didn't include those numbers, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but not every student took the exam this year. No, I mean, I think in some of those classes you saw a high percentage, like, for example, the AP English Language and Comp, where 42 students took the exam. Most of them took the exam, but some students opted to not taking the exam this year. And given that everybody was on distance learning, and that the exams were given at a specific time, and we can't make those students take the exam. So there were some students who opted out of the exam this spring.
Yeah, no, I know, again, a few years back, I believe it was AP Calc that was taught
Yeah.
with honors, with just a differentiated test, not the AP test, but the the exams that were given throughout the year, and it was kind of a thorn in my side for that. So it's nice to hear that we have separated that instruction and given those students the dedicated, committed instruction. It's been my
Yeah, we
position that.
we had a calc honors class last year, Joe, Mr. Montero.
Yeah, but right, but they weren't teaching it together, were they?
No, they were not.
Right, because that's what it used to be, Ms. Curry. With the 8 years that I've been here, I'd say going back maybe 6 years ago, then ballparking, they were taught together, which to me just did not seem conducive. If we really wanted to compete with the scores that you're showing us today, I would suppose that that's a factor to that increase, is that they have dedicated instruction to AP.
And last year at the beginning of the year, we certainly kind of pushed the notion or idea that everybody who is teaching AP courses should use AP guides, and should look at the instructional planning guide. And last year we were able to provide all of those AP teachers with an instructional planning guide, which looks at the previous year's results and shows where there were weaknesses in the exam. This year, interestingly enough, we're not going to have an instructional planning guide to share with staff because they couldn't provide one because this was a different test. However, those resources, and we will still ask AP teachers to use all of the resources that AP provides. Because if you do, it just gives you that much more information as to what specifically will be tested. And we want, since those students are in that track, we want them all to come out with 3s or better, because that looks like gold on a transcript.
Not only does it look like gold, it looks like money in college. Let's be honest. It's money in college.
Well, and
my son is an example of that. Not only that, my friends' children are examples of that. It's money in college. It's money in the bank. You go to college, they take it as credit. You're halfway there. You're halfway there.
The objective of every AP teacher should be that every one of those students should get at least a 3. Going into the year. Yep.
Correct. And that's kind of what I'm trying. That's kind of where my questions are going to lie right now. Just quickly, are we going to be pushing AP classes going? And this was, let me preface what I'm about to say, as in, a lot of teachers I know, this was a very difficult year to teach AP. I know that. The test was very difficult. I know when a couple of my friends were sitting on eggshells when those AP exams came out and just didn't know what to do. Waiting for their scores. Are we going to try to put our students towards AP, or are we going to be looking at EEP classes? I mean, East Providence offers a lot of EEP classes that necessarily isn't, you don't have to take the AP exam to offer the credits. So I guess that's what I'm asking. We have a macroeconomics class where 32 students took it, and it didn't look like many students even passed that test.
As I said, we'll definitely be supporting that class. As soon as the school year, we'll look at the exam, we'll see where the weaknesses are, and I can assure you it'll be better next spring.
Okay. The other thing is AP Stats, which my son is no longer a student there, but has been a problem for many years. We had 15 students that took the test this year. that's been a problem for many years. Can we look into, I don't know if we do this. I know other districts do, but like, and I hate to say this, but I know there was a teacher there that did this, but like morning breakfast study sessions. I know East Providence did do this, or any kind of classes for AP that could do this. If this is where we're headed, I don't even know if this is where we're headed. Because EEP may be where we're headed and not AP. I don't know.
That's a good point.
And that's what I'm
the
saying.
thing is, you're not guaranteed a college credit with a 3.
Right.
In
But
AP exam. So, a number of students are choosing EEP over AP.
Right.
Obviously, you have 4s and 5s, then there's really more of a chance that those credits will be accepted. That 4 and 5 will be accepted as a credit.
But I will tell you that the majority of where our students go from Rhode Island, you're going to schools where 90% of your credits of your AP classes you're getting 18 to 30 credits of your classes they're taking them. They're taking them. My son alone, 18 credits were taken. That's a lot of credits to go into your freshman year. I'm not gonna lie, that's a lot of credits. So I'm just saying, you don't know which way to go. And I'm looking at these numbers, but I'm also looking at, unfortunately, my son can hear me speaking right now because we're in open session. He just said, the more accurate data needed, the more students that need to take the test. Proven point.
Like I said, last year we did supply every department with the instructional planning guides provided by AP. And I do think that had an impact this year. So we'll continue to push, we'll continue to recommend students take AP. We'll continue to ask those teachers to use AP materials. AP does provide example tests. I mean, we don't want to make AP just teaching to the test all year. I mean, that's the last thing we want to do because we'll push kids out of those classes. But and on the other hand, though, we absolutely want to have those students prepared to take those exams in the spring because that is our objective. Everyone should get a 3 or better. And the more 4s and 5s, the better. I mean, I can remember when I taught AP English language and comp receiving messages from some, we did have a couple of students who did go to Ivy League schools, and they wrote me and said that they were excused from their English language credits at Yale and Brown. So yeah, the more kids we expose to that type of instruction and content, the better.
Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Courier.
Thank you all.
Okay, the next thing on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Curry, for doing that.
The next thing on the superintendent's report is the appointment of the high school principal, and the superintendent's recommendation is Toby Gibbons for the new East Providence High School principal.
Welcome, Toby Gibbons.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm extremely excited. Everything I've seen and heard about the city of East Providence and becoming a townie is really exciting to me and my family, and just can't wait to get to work tomorrow.
And I can't wait for you to get to work tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning.
Yep, early.
Okay, well, thank you and congratulations. We look forward to welcoming you into our administrative team. I think you'll be a wonderful fit. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Next will be a re-entry update from Sandra Ferran. But before we begin that re-entry update, I just want to update on a few things that have occurred this last week. You can see on the recall list that we are recalling some of our paraprofessionals. Dr. Fran, myself, and Dr. Bola, we have talked a lot about the problem with substitute teachers and even the potential of our nurses being somewhat overwhelmed if they're in the quarantine room and no one's able to be at the clinic. So we decided to put our permanent subs, teacher subs in each one of the buildings. We're putting 2 at the high school, 2 at each middle school, and we're actually putting 2 at each elementary school. The middle and the high school will not have as much difficulty covering classes because students, for example, in the middle schools, the 7th graders and 6th graders will be in for 2 days. Then you have the 6th graders and the 8th graders for 2 days. So there will be teachers available to pick up coverage. And the same thing is true of the high school. Unfortunately, on the elementary level, there is not. So if we have the permanent subs in the building to use, the teacher permanent subs, then that will help our substitute situation a little. It's still a concern of ours, a serious concern, but we feel that this would be helpful. And we are putting a parapro in each one of our elementary schools. It'll be a school-based parapro, so the principal could use that parapro when one of the parapros is out, because the parapros we have are attached to special education, classrooms, and students. So we'll have a substitute in the building. If no one is out, that principal can use that person to just watch the clinic if the nurse has to go to the quarantine room or do whatever, help with recess and things of that nature in the building. So that's what we decided to do as part of our reentry plan. And then as requested, we had our visit from the Department of Health, the National Guard, a social worker and a nurse came to visit East Providence High School, and they did a walkthrough. They are calling them walkthrough now. They are not calling them inspections. They walked through each one of our schools. There were 3 teams. There were 4 people in a team. And I sent, Tony delivered the checklist to you. If you look at those checklists, they're very difficult to read on the back. And you'll see that there really are no outstanding issues. A lot of the issues with the HVAC was they wanted to talk to the principal, and we did send Peter with one group, Tony with one group, Craig Enos went with another group that went through the building. They wanted a facilities person and a principal. And when they asked the principal some of those questions, the principals didn't realize what they were referring to, and they were referring to the heating units, the ventilating, and not an HVAC system per se. So you'll see my little notes by some of the questions and clarification for you by some of those questions on those checklists. Now, all over the state, they've had problems with these. Now we get that letter that's on the front of those cover pages from the state that states 3 issues. One of the issues is the attestation form, which we had on all the doors when we came to visit, if you look at that. The second issue was the circulation of air in the building. If we keep our windows and our doors open, that air exchange can occur. When the winter comes, we know that the potential we won't be able to do that. So we have to look at box fans or HEPA filters to keep that air circulating, which we are doing presently. And then the third is the quarantine room. We have a quarantine room in every single building. Every single building has a quarantine room. So that cover sheet does not even agree with the checklist that they went through. So nothing to hide in them. It's there for you to look at. And if you have any questions related to that, I can certainly try to answer them for you. And I believe Tony Fiola should be on here too. And if you noticed on the top of some sheets, they had the wrong school. They had the CTE down, and it really wasn't the CTE, it was Waddington, because Karen Moore was the principal. So there's a lot of issues with that walkthrough, and I'll just leave that at where it is. We're trying very hard to make it the safest place we possibly can for the students to come in. So that was that, and the recall of the paras and the placement of permanent subs in the building. So now I'm going to turn it over to Sandy Ferran if she'd like to give you a new update on the reentry plan. Sandy?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I don't have a presentation. Last Tuesday I did a presentation, so I'll update you with the numbers. We have 2250 as of yesterday that will be doing distance learning. We've set all the elementary classes at this point. The high school, every building is set up, ready to go. Teachers have been in for 3 days. They had, last week was their orientation day, and they've been in the last 2 days for professional development. And they'll have one more day of professional development tomorrow before we open on Monday. And then we'll have the gradual roll-in of students throughout the week. So I am happy to field any questions. I don't have a lot of new updates since last Tuesday.
Any questions?
Okay, then I'm going to ask Diana if she will chime in now and give you a transportation update. We did the little video on transportation. We sent it out to all of you, so I hope you saw that video. Diana?
Sorry, before you start, can I just say one thing? Sorry. We've been getting a lot of emails from parents about questions if their child was approved for distance learning. We did send out emails that's confirmed. I think a lot went to spam, or somehow they didn't make it where they were supposed to go. So anyone that has asked for distance learning, we have granted that. So, and then additional information will be coming out from principals with all of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question? And this is for Sandy or Celeste or Catherine or Ben, whoever can help me. If anybody's been on social media lately, and I know Joel has been, but anybody who can help me. Any videos that are being put out by particular schools to help the schools help their parents or students. We're having issues trying to help them because they can't log in for whatever reason. Is there any way that we can facilitate an easier way, or is there, I don't know how to word this any other way. So like Riverside did an open meeting for 6th graders and then 7th and 8th graders. And for whatever reason, I was able to stream it live. And it might've been because I had an iPad that was associated with East Providence School Department. I ended up doing it Facebook Live because parents couldn't see it. I noticed a lot of people have a lot of questions, And then what happens was they go on social media and then someone answers them. And then it may not be the right answer. And I'll be honest, I gave a wrong answer a couple weeks ago because I thought I had the right answer and I didn't. I make mistakes. And then the wrong answer goes out. I always try to give Sandy's, that email address. I didn't know it was Sandy always answered, but I always give that email address and I post it out there and say, please answer that, get that answer. Now I have resorted into numerous email addresses at the high school because they need answers and I don't have the answers, and I apologize. I don't have the answers of when 11th grade starts, when 9th grade starts, when 10th grade starts, when distance learning starts for 11th grade, who's parking where, when I'm not expected to know everything. I don't. So what is your recommendation for the one person who has the one question that I cannot answer for that?
I would just say refer them to the 2021 reopening.
Is
So
that what you do?
yeah, it's 20-21.
Yeah.
Reopening at epschools.ri.com. You can
And that's the question of all questions.
we always respond right away to that. So
Yes, I know you do. That I know you do, Sandy. You are like, that is the, but I just didn't know if that should be the place I should be referring everybody to for every question. Like, should
yeah,
that be
you
the
can
question for
you
everything?
can send them there. They can reach out to principals if they make sure that they have an email address on file. Principals are constantly communicating. There's been, and we know, we were just talking about, Mr. Curry and I were talking about this a little earlier. There's a lot of information coming out, and so it gets difficult, I think, for parents to follow everything sometimes because it's coming from different sources. So principals are sending out updates. So if they check the email, if they make sure they have a current email on file, if they don't, they can send it to the 2021 or they send it to the high school and they'll update those email addresses. We had an issue with the videos, and Ben can probably speak to that. It was an EP schools because we also had an issue with people accessing the documents on the website.
Yeah, I can address that. So that was a short-lived issue that we found with our Google permissions, and we fixed it a few hours later. It was I think it was Wednesday night that occurred, but it's all been resolved. All those links are available. The only thing is that when these meetings, we post them directly to YouTube, so that's accessible to everyone. The principals are doing their meetings on Google Meet with a Google Stream, and if someone who's not a student or a family or a student or a faculty of the district tries to join that stream link, they may be prompted to log in with a Google account, any Google account. It's just because that stream actually gives a tally of who's attending, where the YouTube is anonymous. It's a public open email thing. So that's just a little difference in the way those streams are being run. But any of those videos, I've already contacted the principals and that they can send them the recorded video to me, and we can publish it on our YouTube channel as well. So if the people are having issues, we can easily get them a link. It'll only take about an hour to get that done.
So if people want to watch it live, we could just say, log in with your child's email. Is that possible?
Well, we don't encourage people to actually log in with anyone to use a student's email account, but any Google account. Most people have a Gmail account or some form that they can use. It's just as long as they sign in with any Gmail account. It's just because it actually gives a kind of an attendance of those streams.
Okay, and I do have to give a shout out. Alex Butler, thank you. He answered a question for me, and I sent someone to him to ask another question, and he answered for me. Diana Clarkin, you the same person. You answered a question for me. I sent a person to you. I don't have the answers for everything, and people think I do, and I don't. I've sent 100 people to that email, Sandy, that you just said, and I think that they think we do know the answers, and I don't. I don't know all the answers. It's a shoveling, it's an everyday thing. And I just want these parents to know that we are working as best we can. And the parking thing, if someone could just quickly go over the parking at the high school, just for anybody who's listening.
Is no problem. They're just gonna park. There's plenty of room for all the seniors when they come in, and the juniors come in on a different day. There's plenty of room. So there's no parking spaces, no numbers. They're going to park. There's plenty of room. We don't have to give passes this year.
What if a senior doesn't get their license until like January?
Well, now depending where we are in January, there may be no need for parking spaces. I don't want to say that. Yeah.
So we may revisit it
by the semester, but there's plenty of parking, and that's why there's been no parking permits and everything. I've gotten a lot of those questions and answered them. The best thing to do with those questions is refer it back. As Sandy said, first round is the principal, because they are communicating. They're sending them to you. I made that request, and you can see in there their schedules. They're saying who's coming in, what grade levels are coming in. And also on our calendar that we've sent out many times along the side of the dates with what students are coming in.
Well,
so
the high school, it's been difficult to send any emails, so that's why I've been asking.
It's a little problem. We were a little slower. Bob's gotten on it the last few days. We have sent something out, and we will do something tomorrow too as well from the high school. So now we will play catch up there. Yes.
All students were also sent an email with all of that information.
Correct.
I believe it was on Monday. Every high school student should have received an email with all the up-to-date information.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've been trying to make sure that I refer each of them to the principal, because I think not only to get the answer directly from the school leadership at their respective school, but also, you know, I'm thinking, one, there may be other parents in that same school that have the same question, and it will help alert that administrator that there may be a gap in information flow. But also, my expectation is that, you know, principals will want to, and I'm sure that they will want to follow up, you know, as the year progresses on some of these issues that may need that follow up. So for them to know which students or which parents have a particular question, you know, I encourage families, parents, students to go directly to their school administration and let them know who they are and what their question is. Again, I mean, I'm happy to filter and you know, we've said it before and Jessica said it, you guys have been great with giving us the information to relay. But to the public, you know, first channel, go to the principal and get on record in that school that you have a question on what it is.
Mhm. Okay, Diana, do you want to give us a transportation update now?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'd like to extend a welcome to Mr. Gibbons. Congratulations. Currently, we have scheduled and routed approximately 1,500 students. Routes and guidelines are on our website at epschoolsri.org, as well as published in the Post today. At this time, we continue with the district mileage restrictions of elementary being 1 mile or more, middle school being 1.5, and high school being at 2. We did not have to change the mileage, which was a good thing. And at this point, the only problem is we don't have the capacity for appeal requests as we have in the past. However, as we move into the school year and guidelines change, you know, their appeals are always a possibility. So I don't ever like to say no to a parent. I just don't know what we may have available. So in regards to transportation for the Boys and Girls Club, we're in discussion with them and the Y, so we can see what our ability is to provide transportation for the families and but who require the boys in before and after daycare. So we're hoping that we'll be able to take care of everyone.
And we met with them, there was room available at the Boys.
There is room available, and I have to say that I spoke with the assistant director at the Boys and Girls Club probably yesterday. He said, and they're coming in fast and furious. So I told him to monitor how many he's coming in. He's going to be sending me the information. I'll be going through it and then trying to figure out how many we can fit on the bus. And the same thing goes for the Y. So they both had a few openings. We did do the video as Superintendent Crowley indicated. Students did a great job. So I'd like to thank the Lowell family, the Seal family, and the Olsons, Beauchesnes, and of course the parents and guardians for taking the time to help us out on that. I think, if I am not mistaken, I think Ben is going to help me show it if anybody does want to see it or put it online. And to conclude, I would just ask the parents and the students to adhere to the guidelines that are going to be in place for the bus. Be mindful of others, as well as extend patience as we move forward into these next several weeks. I appreciate everybody's help because it has been very, very busy. So again, thank you. And hopefully any questions will be answered as soon as possible. Thanks.
Diana, I'm going to play the video. I just, you know, after this video is going to be going out with, there's one edit that'll happen after this tonight, and that the video will be going out to everyone tomorrow. So
awesome, thank you.
Not the final video, just so everyone's aware. Hopefully you can hear the sound.
So there were a couple of things that I didn't mention. One was those dots were pretty big. So just know that the kids are a little bit smaller in scale to the seats. So that makes a difference, and it is in a zigzag pattern. Also, we have the driver showing them where to sit. Even though the driver cannot get out of his seat, he will guide the students to where they need to be as well. I know I'm missing one other thing, and I'm sure that someone will ask the question that'll jog my memory. So
Just edit some of it. There's a misspelling, a typo error.
yeah, we got that. Yeah, that was
That's the reason this isn't the final version. I have to make that
Yeah.
one correction and re-upload it tonight. So
Thank you.
you'll get the final one after that correction.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just wanted everybody to sort of see or get an idea of what it looked like. The kids were so good. They were so cute. They did an awesome job. Mrs. Beauchesne, I hope she did take them out for a treat, because I'm going to have to do that somehow. Because
I did. Their breakfast cost me $100.
It was very cute. It was really cute. Very nice, Diana. Thank you very much. And Ben, thank you. It was great.
Any questions for Diana?
Shelley, I have a question. Diana, in the video, you were doing hand sanitizer.
Yes,
Who's going to do the hand side at the buses?
I was the quasi monitor in that. That was my acting debut, Mr. Ferrara, and I was pretending I was going to be a monitor. I was pretending to be a monitor.
So the bus monitor is going to distribute all the hand sanitizer?
Correct, both as they get on and get off the bus.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Diana, the boys clubs before and after school, is that settled now, or?
Well, we're still talking about it, I mean, but we'll definitely provide the transportation. As a matter of fact, I think I'm probably going to have one bus transporting just the Boys and Girls Club students from one school, and then I will make the Boys and Girls Club as well as the Y an additional stop on their route. So this way we don't contaminate or cross the students with schools. We keep them all individual to their specific school on the bus, on this one specific bus.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a question, but not for Diana. I just want to go back to the reentry, but so
Go
I'll
ahead,
hold
Joe.
off.
Thank you,
Does
everyone.
anybody else have anything for Diana? Okay. Just a question, either Dr. Ferrand or Superintendent Crowley. And thank you, Dr. Ferrand, for the enrollment numbers and so forth. Just a question on the pre-K component, where obviously there's no distance learning. So we're, I think we're like 81 and 91 between the respective locations. What are our plans for teacher adjustments if need be, if there's a teacher out? I know you mentioned subs for the others. Like, how are we handling that? What's the plan on that?
The silence from Sandy means that she wants me to answer that. So the pre-K at Waddington only has 42 students in it this year. I think I just got those numbers because I think the COVID, a lot of parents were not sending the pre-K in. So there are actually 3 teachers there. And the principal will be acting as, we'll have to sometimes fill in if need be, but we may have to put a para-professional there at Martin. We may have to, we got to look at that. Again, Martin only has 89 this year in the pre-K program from the lottery. And then they went to the waiting list and went down the waiting list. Again, I think it's a little fear of sending the little ones in, realizing that distancing is somewhat more difficult. So we're looking at that right now, Joe. We haven't made any decisions on that. We'll be talking, in fact, I have a principals meeting tomorrow.
We also have an itinerant teacher assigned at Martin that can help out with coverage too. At the Martin pre-K.
And the same, because, right, Oldham was 91?
That includes our special ed pre-K also.
Okay.
Yeah. They do their own covering, like they're almost self-sufficient there. We've never had to supply subs there. Somehow they take care of themselves, even when they were at Wantington.
But we have a director there too.
Yeah, a coordinator, yeah. Yeah, so, but we're gonna be looking at that. We just haven't gotten there yet, but we will be looking at that.
So we have a principal and a director at Oldham
Correct.
with 42 kids.
No, 42 in the state pre-K. And then you've got the afternoon and morning sessions of the special ed pre-K. And that number was, what was that?
91.
That's why I've been asking for that number, 91 total.
91.
Okay.
So that's 91 total in that school
Correct.
with three state pre-K teachers.
Correct.
Well, and so both pre-Ks have both state will have no building-based paras and no building-based.
I didn't say that. Martin's pre-K,
Well,
Sandy.
it's not on my list. That's why
It's not. We haven't gotten there yet, but Martin has some teachers. Again, those teachers don't teach every day. So we may be able to cover there. We're going to be looking at that, okay, with Mr. Blacks and Sandy. We'll be looking at that. And then we may have to look at something part-time at Oldham.
Okay, so I'm going to write this down, and if you can get back to me on that, I would appreciate that, because that is extremely important, because those kids have to go to school every day, as I have been told over and over and over again. They go to school 5 days a week, and I need to make sure that those kids are taken care of.
We will. We just haven't gotten to it.
Got it.
If there's nothing else, Superintendent,
I'm all set.
we'll go on to the Director of Human Resources report, Cheryl Mamone.
Charlie, 1 second, I'm sorry. Would
Okay.
just what you stated,
Yeah.
if you can have that sent to everybody, because them,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying, that decision's gonna, if they didn't get there, whatever they get to, we all need to know where they're going with this, just because you're right. We'll be in there 5 days a week.
They will be.
Yep.
Yes, no distance learning in pre-K.
Here's our problem. With the paraprofessionals, we have a shortage on, excuse me, with the teacher substitute in the building day subs. We're still short in 2 elementary schools. This is what I mean about substitute shortages. So we just haven't gotten there. We're not forgetting them. Again, we just got to give us time to make sure our sub pool is next to nothing right now.
But our paraprofessionals, we don't. We still have paraprofessionals to call back.
Jessica, but they can't cover a classroom.
Right.
The teacher, so we got to think of that.
Cheryl?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Fine,
I have can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay, so I have a long report tonight. I have some resignations, so I'll start with that. Roxy DeLoy, Assistant Principal at East Providence High School, effective 9/10/2020. Erin Samad, a kindergarten teacher at Waddington, effective 8/17/20. Robert Anastasi, guidance counselor, Martin Middle School, effective 8/31/2020. Mindy Mertz, special education for pre-K at Oldham, effective 9/1/2020. Kelly Harrington, the library media specialist at Waddington Elementary, effective 9/1/2020. Vanessa Ortiz, paraprofessional Martin Middle School, effective 8/31/2020. Melissa Buzzy, paraprofessional, effective 8/31/20. We had called back, so her area is to be determined because she declined the call back. Heidi Banville, a math teacher at East Providence High School, effective 9/1/2020. And Mariah Harrington, speech pathologist, Oldham Elementary, effective 9/17/2020. That is the resignations.
Any questions, comments? Can I have a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Next is retirements. The first retirement is Donna Raposa, physical education teacher at Francis Elementary, effective 8/15/2020. Donna Raposa is retiring from the East Providence School District effective August 15th of 2020. She has worked for the district for a total of 43 and a half years. Donna began working for us in January of 1977 as a physical education teacher for multiple elementary schools. She has spent her 43 plus years at the elementary level and is retiring from the Myron J. Francis School. I'll go on to the next retiree. Maria Braga, a paraprofessional at White Neck Elementary.
Donna Raposa, 43 years.
Effective 8/25/2020. Maria Braga has retired from the East Providence School District effective August 25th of 2020. She has worked for the school district for a total of 17 and a half years. Maria began working for us in November of 2002 as a supervisory aide. In September of 2007, she became a paraprofessional and has worked in multiple elementary schools in the district. She is retiring from her current position at the Myron J. Francis School. The next retiree is Alfonso Borges, the Portuguese teacher at East Providence High School. That will be effective on 1/1/2021. Alfonso Borges is retiring from the East Providence School District effective January 1st of 2021. He has worked for the district for a total of 30 years. Alfonso began working for us in September of 1990 as both an ESL and Portuguese teacher. He will be retiring from his current position of Portuguese teacher as of January 1st of 2021. The next retiree is Mary Ann Fitzgerald, special education resource teacher at East Providence High School. It'll be effective on October 9th of 2020. Mary Ann Fitzgerald is retiring from the East Providence School District as of October 9th of 2020. She has worked for us for a total of 18 years. Mary Ann was hired November of 2002 as a special education resource teacher at the East Providence High School. She has been a resource teacher at both the Career and Technical Center as well as the high school. She will be retiring as a resource teacher at the high school this October. Martin McCabe, math teacher at East Providence High School, effective 1/1/2021. Martin McCabe is retiring from the East Providence School District effective January 1st of 2021. He has worked for us for a total of 14 years. Martin was hired in August of 2006 as a math teacher at the East Providence High School. This is the position he is retiring from. The next retiree is John Gorham, better known as Sandy Gorham, physical education teacher at East Providence High School, effective 1/1/2021. 2021. John, or Sandy as he's known, is retiring from the East Providence School District effective January 1st of 2021. Sandy has worked for us for a total of 44 years. Sandy was hired in June of 1976 as a physical education teacher at the East Providence High School. As most of you know, Sandy has worn many hats during his 44 years at the high school. In addition to being the physical education teacher, he was assistant softball coach for 6 years, from 1988 to 1994. From 2007 to 2008, he also served as head coach for the boys tennis team. He became head swim coach in 2002 and brought the team to the state championship in both 2009 and 2010. He served as assistant football coach for 1 year before becoming head football coach for 20 years from 1994 to 2014. During his reign as head football coach, he brought the team to state championship 5 times. During his years at the high school, he also served as assistant athletics director from 1990 to 1994 and as pool coordinator from 1991 to 1993. As a coach and as a teacher, to say that Sandy has impacted the lives of so many students in the East Providence community is an understatement. It is with mixed emotions we say goodbye and good luck to Sandy on his well-deserved retirement. The next retiree is Donna Ferrara, business teacher, East Providence High School, effective 1/1/2021. Donna Ferrara is retiring from the East Providence School District as of December 31st, 2020. She has worked for us for a total of 34.5 years. Donna was hired on September 2nd, 1986 as a business teacher at the East Providence High School. In September of 1988, she was appointed as the coordinator of cooperative education at the Career and Technical Center. In 1993, she transferred to Martin Middle School as a business teacher. She will be retiring from her current position as business teacher at the East Providence High School on December 31st, 2020. I would like you to join me in wishing all of our retirees a long and healthy retirement, and thank you so much for your service.
Congratulations to everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service.
May we have a motion?
That's a lot of education.
I will move to accept those retirements.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion
I
carries.
don't want to be on the record.
We have no leave of absence this evening, nor any non-renewals. I'll go on to recalls. Our first recall will be Elizabeth Sacco, a Latin teacher, East Providence High School, effective for the 2021 school year. Next is John Irwin, a paraprofessional at White Neck Elementary, effective 2021 school year. Lynn DeCecco, paraprofessional at Martin Middle School, effective 2021 school year. Scott Brault, a math teacher, East Providence High School, effective 2021 school year. Mary Duhansik, grade 1 at Francis, effective 2021 school year. Jessica Simpson, English teacher at East Providence High School, effective 2021 school year. Christine Lilly, building-based paraprofessional, White Neck, effective 2021 school year. Kayla Chartier, building-based paraprofessional at Waddington, effective 2021 school year. Kendall Witherall, building-based paraprofessional at Francis Elementary, effective 2021 school year. Stacy Hofstetter, building-based paraprofessional at Silver Spring, effective 2021 school year. Kara Robeson, building-based paraprofessional at Orlo Elementary, effective 2021 school year. Dennis Cohane, building-based paraprofessional at Kent Heights Elementary, effective 2021 school year. Ellen Turcott, building-based paraprofessional at Hennessy Elementary, effective 2021 school year. Harlow, a paraprofessional at East Providence High School, effective 2021 school year. Tara Kane, paraprofessional at Riverside Middle School, effective 2021 school year. That completes the recalls for this evening.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
We have one rescinded offer this evening. Megan.
Wait a minute, wait.
Hold on.
We didn't vote.
Did we lose Charlie?
We don't approve this, do we?
I was muted. Yes, yeah, we do.
There he
We
is.
approve it?
A motion made and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Cheryl,
Yes, we have one offer that was rescinded. Megan Silva, kindergarten teacher, Francis Elementary.
do we need a motion?
Yeah.
There may be a motion to acknowledge that rescinding.
Why?
That's because she
Just
took
put it on record, right?
Right.
Yes.
She took another position.
Is there a second to the motion?
Oh, I'll second that.
So I can't get why? No answer for why, right? No.
I said because we need it on record, Jessica. She had accepted, you appointed her, and now you're not. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, good.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Cheryl. The next
You're welcome.
is the Director of Finance report, Craig Enos.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening. So we remain in good stead as the school year starts up. There are a couple of items in the finance report that I just wanted to bring to your attention. They're on page 1 at the bottom in the 54,000 series. So you can see an account 54,407 for the internet. As compared to last month. Last month we didn't have the invoice, but we have now paid the internet bill for this year of $21,060. So that will carry us through till next school year. And then in that line below, as compared to last month, you can see that line has jumped up to $318,225. And that's due to the fact that we made a payment to Marin Construction for the work that they have done on White Neck Elementary and Riverside. And other than that, there really isn't that much to report. We really haven't been spending too many resources over the last month. By next month, it will change because the schools have been ordering their supplies for the beginning of the school year. And just to update you with the school lunch applications, so far we have 600 school lunch applications that have come in, which is great. I'm going to be sending out an email to parents asking them again to make sure that they fill the applications out. As you know, as we have talked about, that the USDA announced last week their decision to give free breakfast and lunch to all students through till the end of December 31st. We filed our application paperwork with RIDE. We were approved. And so we will be beginning that next Monday on the 14th. But I want to stress to everyone, and that's why I'm going to be communicating out out to the parents, that just because we're doing this for the free breakfast and lunch for all students, it is still very important for everyone to please fill out that lunch application online. As we know in these times, hopefully things don't change and that 12/31/20 date will still be in effect. But however, we don't know. Things can certainly change. And so that's why we really want to stress how very important it is for parents to fill that application out, because then that will take effect not only on January 1, but if the federal government happens to change their mind prior to, we've got that application filled out. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Craig. Now, I don't know if you have the answer to this, but what about the distance learners, Superintendent, for meals? Are we feeding them?
Yes, we met with Chartwell's, Craig Enos and I met with Barbara Cohen and Melissa, and we are setting up meals for those students on distant learning at their respective school, or whatever school is closer for them, to come and pick up their breakfast and lunch. Yes.
Excuse me.
Schedule.
I have a question for Craig. Craig, you emailed us a list, a brief list of expenses for COVID thus far that you had submitted for reimbursement to FEMA. And then you sent another copy of that to us. Was that sent to us in response to a request made to you by one of these members about how much money had been spent thus far on COVID?
Yes. So last week, Mr. Ferreira had asked for an updated list. And also what had happened was when that document got converted into PDF, the two columns didn't line up. So I just cleaned it up. We added in a few of the updated amounts that we submitted into FEMA. And so that's why I sent you that the updated list.
Thank you. Because I went back and watched the meetings, and the August 25th meeting, Mr. Ferreira asked at the end of the meeting, and I quote, "Kathy, can you send out to the committee tomorrow how much we've spent on COVID, even whatever we sent in for reimbursement?" And that was the simple request. And I understood that to be asking for simply a dollar total to date. I didn't take it as requesting a detailed accounting or whatever it was. I thought the document certainly was sufficient to answer Mr. Ferreira's question. Can I ask Mr. Ferreira, when you got that list, was that what you were looking for? Was the total dollar amount spent thus far? Or were you looking for an accounting?
Somewhat correct, Karen. What happened was when we had mentioned the meeting before, the dollar amount that we had spent, because we had talked about the dollar amounts. So as I'm out walking, the dollar amounts went out there. They asked me, "Tony, do you know what the breakdowns are on that?" I said, "No." I said, "I can put a request in." I had like 3 or 4, I don't want to say 5, but I think it was 3 or 4 requests to say, "Well, why don't you know what the dollar amount is?" I said, "It's not that we don't know. I don't think anybody requested it, but I'll put that request in." That's when I had put the request in. I had talked to Craig for about maybe 20 minutes over it. He had itemized it all and said that he would send out an updated version of it. And yes, I did give that paper to 3 or 4 people that requested the break, that they already had the dollar amount, just like we had the dollar amount. Say it was $307,000. The
Right.
public heard $307,000. I had 3 or 4 people ask me, "Do I know what the breakdown is?" At that point, I didn't really know what the breakdown was. We put the request in the second week. We had got the breakdown. I had called Craig and he had mentioned that a lot of it comes from the 3 pots of the money. That's what I had explained to the people that I had given that list to Karen. Exactly. I didn't.
Only because now I'm getting inquiries. I got an email from someone in my ward questioning something that they've been told or seen. And it's this has list that I thought was just a simple list for total amount. I never thought it was supposed to be a breakdown of specific expenses. I don't need to know that the superintendent ran out and bought wipes in April and hand sanitizer for an office. I mean, I didn't know that's what this was.
Right,
And
but-
now it seems like the public, some people in the public are trying to imply that we are being fiscally irresponsible. And I'm part of that. And I don't understand why we're feeding to the public without answers as to what that was, because it's a bad impression on all of us.
No, but
So
Karen-
whoever's giving that to them, I for the life of me, it makes no sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense because the total amount is I don't want, say it's $307,000.
That's just so far. That's
But
just so
what I'm
far.
saying is, if somebody asked you what we spent $97,000 on, we're not supposed to follow up to get them an answer?
No, no, absolutely. But
That's
that's not
exactly-
the,
But
that's not the
exactly what I did.
question that was asked publicly. At the meeting, I quote, "Can you send out to the committee how much we've spent?" To me, that implies a total amount. Nowhere does it say with breakdowns of what it was spent on. Nothing was asked in public for that. So when people now are emailing me and saying, why is there not an accounting of our tax dollars spending? First of all, it's not our tax dollars. It's the 1.6 million that we were given in COVID relief money. So when we give information to people as a committee, can we give them all the information so they know what they're talking? I mean, now they're sending me conversations of people saying, you know, they're wasting our money. This is bad accounting. There's who's in charge, and implying that we're being shady or fiscally irresponsible. And I'm taking that personally because
Well,
in
Karen,
no
I'm saying
way.
they can't say that because and I agree with what you're saying, but how can they say that when I got the requests, which they can say the request we put in, you're 100%. I believe, and that's why I said send it I like everything being sent to all of us. We all got that same exact paper. On that paper were all them line items with the total amount. I agree 100% with you. I gave them exactly what we discussed, the 300 and something thousand. I asked for that to be sent to all of us. We all have it. We can't deny it. It should have all been the
I
same.
know, but
paper.
Mr. Ferrera, when you
I'm saying-
gave that, when you gave those people access to that, did you clarify and say, this is only in response to a total dollar request I made?
And I
did
also
not
told
make-
him, and it's part of a 3-pot that I spent almost 20 minutes talking to Craig about when he said he would send us out. I hope we all got the updated list. If
Craig, can I
somebody
ask you a
asked me for
question?
the-
I don't know. I'm just.
Karen, can I ask a question real fast?
Absolutely.
Craig, when we get the accounts payable, checking from citizens, we all get that paperwork. And it's a list of the checks and the date and the amount. And so if we owe someone money, so let's say at my business, I found wipes on sale and I bought them for my restaurant because I couldn't find them anywhere else and my restaurant needed them. So I bought them. And my restaurant wanted to reimburse me. They wrote me so all these lists of items that we see every month that you send to us, and there's a bunch of names. So tonight we have a bunch of names here. I'm not going to read them off, but I can because anybody can see them. We paid Meeting Street, National Grid, Otis Elevator, Perkins School for the Blind, Lowe's, it goes on. That list that we see, that we approve, that would have been a payback, correct? We're paying these people with a check.
Well, so for in the case, so for National Grid, Meeting Street,
Yep.
so those are bills from invoices. I believe, as an example,
Right.
So there is a
Because your
reimbursement.
name's on this, so we
Yep,
owe
I
you
am.
money for
So
something.
yep. So
What do we owe
right.
you money for? May I ask?
Sure.
What did you buy?
So I bought 2 new iPad covers, one for the
Yep.
superintendent and one for myself.
Yep.
It was cheaper for me to go out and use my own personal credit card.
Yep.
So I did that, and then I submitted my receipt with
Yep.
the reimbursement form. I filled out the reimbursement form. It was signed by the superintendent. It was signed by me, and then it gets processed. Yep.
And this is a process that.
Excuse me, Jessica, my
Yes.
name, this is Celeste, my name appears on the list. And so I went out and when we were looking, when the district was looking for disinfectant wipes, Tony Fiola said that him and Peter had scoured every place on that side of, and I said, I have to go to Walmart. I need vitamins. I will look while I'm at Walmart. And so I went down the aisle and there was a person taking out cases of disinfectant wipes. And as he was putting them on the shelf, I called the superintendent first. I picked them and she said, get as many as you can.
Well,
As
I
he
wish you
put
would have
them on
called
the-
me to ask me how many I wanted.
As he was putting them on the shelf, I put them in my cart. I happened to go back a second day. And so I submitted a receipt.
Yep.
It went through Craig. I believe whatever check they cut for me went through the school committee to approve.
We already approved it. We already approved it.
But can
months ago.
As a school committee member working with an $85 million budget, I would not expect to see any receipt from Dr. Bowler for hand disinfectant.
But we saw
and
their-
never
but we
mind,
saw their
never
nature.
mind the public. Now we have public citizens thinking they have the right to see receipts for everything purchased, which I guess they do. And I'm all for transparency, but this is getting a little ridiculous.
But Karen,
and
we
motive behind
did
it-
see it.
But
We
but
did
you
see
were
it.
getting off point here. I want to know the motive behind this. I keep saying, I find myself saying in every meeting, I don't understand. I don't understand. But the sad part is I understand perfectly. I know what's going on here. I don't like it. There are other people who are calling me and telling me the opposite. I don't have a Facebook account. I have people that call me daily. Oh my God, Karen, you got to see what this one wrote today. It's like a joke. When it's about me and I'm included in a group, I'm getting angrier by the day. And to imply that there's any sort of fiscal shenanigans going on or foolishness. I know right now I'm looking at the faces of people who have spent not hundreds, thousands of their own dollars on kids in this district. Thousands without getting any recognition. And one woman in particular, if you knew what that woman spent out of her pocket for these kids, and her name is on there for $52 or something, to imply that there's any sort of, it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. Everybody's working hard. Mr. Chonis last night on a meeting with the mayor said how important it was for all of us to come together right now. And Mr. Chonis, I couldn't agree with you more.
I agree.
Please, can we all agree to stop this in the name of, I don't know if it's political or whatever it is, but it needs to stop. We need to come together for the sake of the children and the families of this city and stop this foolishness.
Karen, see, in your eyes, it might be foolish, but when we get, there are line items on there, would you agree or disagree? The paper that was sent to us has 31 line items with invoices. And there's 21 of them missing. One's $97,000. If the public asks, what did we spend $97,000 on? We're not supposed to tell them. There's one.
Not at all. Tony, what I'm
Oh,
saying
okay.
is, what I'm aware, no, I don't mean that. I mean, not at all. I agree with you. What I'm saying is what I heard at a meeting was, what is the total dollar amount? Just thrown in at the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
That's all I thought we were getting that for. I knew nothing about this extra 20-minute conversation you have. Everything should be public. I want to hear. If I'm involved, I want to hear it. All I heard was, what's the total amount spent? So the paper that I got was certainly sufficient to answer that question. You didn't ask for an itemized, detailed accounting because we're not there yet. We haven't finished spending it. We have other expenses. Are they supposed to update us weekly on COVID?
But what I'm saying, Karen, we told the public that we spent that money at the public meeting. They just put in a request. What did we spend the money on? I don't see what the issue. Charlie put it on the agenda, so it wasn't like nobody knew about it. The request came in. Mr. Ferrer, what did you spend all that money on that you talked about the previous meeting? I said, I want to say we're well overstocked with hand sanitizers, masks. I'll put the request in at the next meeting to see what we spent the money on. I called Charlie. I said, Charlie, can you put on the next agenda what we spent the money on? It went on the agenda. We all got the list, Karen. I gave the list to the 3 people that asked what we spent the money on. There was nothing hidden on the list. It was all
What
on
do you
the
mean
list.
it went on the agenda? It was never on the agenda. You just asked it at the end of the meeting on the 25th. Out of like, just like, oh yeah, and Kathy, can you give us a list, a total amount of what we've spent on COVID so far?
I send all my requests through the chairman and they go to wherever he sends them. That's all I'm saying.
I never saw
Karen.
that on an
But
agenda.
what I'm saying, Karen, is we cannot be accused of spending money without documentation. If somebody
Would you
asks,
rather be accused of being fiscally irresponsible? Because that's what that person is saying about us.
But Karen, we can't meet everybody's needs. We try to do the best we can. At least what that person's going to say is they asked for financial documents and they didn't get them. They asked for them and they got them. How they twist it, Karen, one thing we can't be blamed for is not giving out a piece of, by the way, it's public information. We can't be accused of not giving it to them. They got it. The numbers are all there. That's what the thing is about. If somebody calls you and puts in a request for something, if you choose not to get it from, I would respect that, Karen. You have that choice to do that, like we all do.
All right, can we, I think you both made your points, and unless there's an objection, I would like to move on. Is that okay?
Well, I do have a question.
Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that easy. So what I'm not understanding is if I'm following how this happened, because I get the call because I don't see that particular page, right? So according to what I'm being told is that now we all know Mr. Ferrer asked for this information. So it was provided to all of us. We received it. So I'm going to assume and wait to be corrected that all 5 of us, including you, Mr. Ferrer, were satisfied with the report that we got from Craig with that summary, that total number. So that being said, you gave it to the folks that asked for it, which is fine. So now one or all of those folks posted it on social media with very disparaging implications to the committee on how we are managing the funds. Now, you know, the fact that there were members of our administration that were listed on there, I think was probably part of the motivation there. And to that, I would say thank you to Dr. Bowler, Superintendent Crowley, and Mr. Crowley, who not only has given roughly a year and a half of his free labor to us, also ran out and ran errands for us. But so it was twisted out there to say that there was missing information. So when you gave them the list, you were happy with the list, and they twisted it to say, hey, this is shady, where's all the information? Okay, so now it's done once. And to your point, you're saying, hey, listen, if they twist it, I can't help that. They asked for the information, I gave it to them. Fair enough. If assuming that all that is true, I would accept that. What doesn't make sense to me is last night at 8 o'clock, roughly, Craig resends the list to us, and I get another call within minutes. That same person that twisted your submission to them the first time posts the latest one that we had just gotten less than an hour before to twist it again. So I guess my question is, if you were happy with the list and you gave it to them and they twisted it to disparage the work that the five of us are doing, why would you send them the list again the second time for them to just repeat that disparaging act? That to me is, I think, what Karen's talking about. Like, you know, we're sitting here all trying to work, and again, I'm sorry. I mean, listen, the word is out there, right? There are more lies running out there than anything, and this district has never been as fiscally tight as it is now. You can go back 15 years minimum. So, and I have all the confidence in that. So, you know, we can have that discussion anytime anybody wants, but you have to question if the first submission that you gave to them was twisted without your knowledge. Why would they get it a second time in less than an hour last night?
You're 100% right with that, Joel. Everything you stated, you're 100% right. You're just missing a couple parts in there. Let me fit. What happened was, after I sent that, be honest with you, two of them said, Tony, as long as I got it, that's all I wanted. It's like, it was to see if I would say, no, you're not getting it, whatever. What happened, that was the first one. I had called Craig, I believe it was on Friday, late Friday. I said, Craig, no hurry, if you can get it. There's just a couple items that, you know, if you can fill in. And that's when he went over, well, Tony, just let them know it comes from 3 pots, you know, from FEMA. I said, okay, Craig. Talk to him about 50. That was Friday, Joe. On, I think yesterday at 2:30, he had, I hope everybody got the updated one. I think it was around 2:30. So I ran, I got that's what I'm saying, Joe. I got it sent, an updated one sent to me. I think it was 2:30 yesterday with the ones that were filled in. So I went and gave it to that person, Joe. That's what brought the whole second one on. There was a couple questions on it that I couldn't answer. So I called Craig on Friday when they asked me. Craig said, Tony, it's this. It comes from the 3 pots of money that we're working with. I'll send out an update one, probably early next week. I said, okay, Craig, no hurry. And then yesterday afternoon at 2:30, I think I got one at 2:30. I hope we, you know, if we all did, but I got a new one, Joel, and I sent it off to the person that put the request in for the 2 missing lines or whatever. That's exactly what I did. So we can say, all I'm saying, Joel, is I put in a request. Mm-hmm. They put in a request to me. I put a request in. Nobody touched it or whatever. It came from our finance department. It wasn't hidden from anybody. Craig didn't say, Tony, I can't give me a couple days. I got it, Joel, and I gave it to somebody that put in a request. Everybody can fit it any way they want. The only
no, but
none of the numbers were changed on it or anything like that, Joel.
Nobody said that. I actually wouldn't have even thought that someone would change the numbers. I'm going to your words, right? So there were 3 that you gave it to, in your words, where you said, you know, I had no idea that third person, 2 of them said thank you. I had no idea that the third person was going to twist it into a post to disparage the work that the 5 was doing. But that same person got the second one. So, you know, not to sound like the you know, George Bush second, but the fool me once thing comes into line, right? Like if they twisted what you gave them in good faith, right? You said, hey, listen, you're a taxpayer. I'm going to get you the information you're asking for. Here it is. And then they post it and twist it to say something other than what it is, to try to make us look bad. Why would you rush to them with an updated one for them to do the same thing? I guess that's a piece that I didn't
now,
understand.
Joel, I don't even know how, when you say when it's twisted, I have no idea what's on people's Facebooks. The only way that I would take Karen's word, definitely I would take, if you guys said it got twisted, I would believe you. Did I read any twisted? No, I didn't. I just sent it along, Joel. I don't get on social media. So whatever happens with this information, Joel, it happens with it. If you guys are saying it got twisted the first time, if you say it did, I agree with you. If you say, Tony, did you send it? Joel, I sent it the second time. If you didn't say it was twisted now, or Karen didn't bring it up, I would have no idea what it got twisted. All I know, the only thing I gave them was no notes on it or nothing, Joel. It was exactly what was sent it to me. If that got sent to somebody and they had a couple questions, call me back. I'll get you the answers. The one thing that I think none of us do is deny getting answers for people. I have no idea what these people do with information that I give them. It's not confidential information. Yeah. And if they want to twist it, Joel, that's not. It's not, right. It's not public information. So I got it. It's not, and we're not hiding anything, Joel.
Yeah, public. I guess, no.
Can we move on?
I guess
from this?
Yeah, hold on. But I guess the the issue here, back to what Charlie said about working together, and to Karen's point, right, is that we know that there is a political agenda. We can't control
social media.
No, we can't. We can't. But we can control. We can control who we encourage to continue spreading this stuff. So someone that you work very closely with, Tony, has tried to set the agenda that our budget, which is the best budget process that we've had in over a decade, shady. So that's in the same group that is getting this stuff. And then when the post basically implies the same thing, it's unfortunate, because Craig did his job in providing us with what was asked for.
Absolutely.
And that's what's upsetting
100%.
to me.
Right. And I did my job. And I did my job 100%. Yes. And if somebody twisted it, that's definitely, I didn't twist it.
So no, that's great. So we're all in agreement that we're all in agreement that report was exactly
and Joel,
what was asked
can I
for,
just
and
quickly
everything's on
say
the up and up.
something? I have not said one thing. I think that anybody who purchased any COVID-related items when they found it did their job as well. So,
Absolutely.
Because as somebody else who works in a position who was asked to do the same thing, in a position where I was reimbursed at my job when I found Lysol or wipes, and gave my receipt at my job and I was reimbursed, I thank the people who worked in the school system who did the same thing. So it works all around in every job. So I thank the people who did that. So thank you, all the people that are on the list. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I don't think anyone did anything wrong. Your name is on a list. Oh, well, we paid you back. You got your money back. Craig did exactly what we're supposed to do. It's a process. We followed the process. Joel, you're all about process. You're the king of process. We followed the process. It got on social media. The paper got on social media. The papers always get on social media, whatever. It's a transparency. We do it. And
yes, that's where I agree. It's just like Jess, like we were being accused that we didn't do our job with the schools and stuff. Right. And we got that report and I gave that people, I gave that report to 8 people.
Anybody wants to see these crappy reports, I'd be happy to show them to you. They have the wrong names on some of the schools. Here you go.
But
can I go back to, I don't think, and I'll be quick, Charlie, I'm sorry, but I don't care about the wipes or the lists or it just, there's an underlying tone here. Something's happening. It's not just social media. It's not just, I don't have social media either. People are calling me and telling me. And Mr. Ferrer, if you haven't read what this person has written Let me give you a clue. I personally, if this is a friend of yours, I wouldn't give them any more because they're doing nothing but hurting you because you're part of the 5. It's that derogatory. This person is almost accusing us of misspending taxpayer money, and it's strong. It's not an implication. They're making statements that are totally untrue, and there's a motivation behind this other than simply wanting to know how some money is being spent. There's
And
a
Karen, you're
very
right. It's about
vicious.
all of us. You're
Well,
right.
and I'm done. I'm just done. But I'm not gonna let it go. And if they keep doing it, I'm gonna bring it up at every meeting. And I'm at the point where maybe I will open a Facebook account because an awful lot of people are calling me with this.
Well, like you said,
you've got hundreds of people that are watching this and laughing and finding it funny. And the things that they're saying about these people that are writing this stuff is unbelievable as well. So it's both sides, but they're not putting it in writing, but they're certainly saying it to me. It's appalling. It's disgusting. The city's better than that. And we're better than that. And people deserve better than this. And Charlie's right. We got to come together, step up, and let's just forget about all this politics stuff and do what's right. Thank you.
which is
Sorry.
what we've done for years.
Right.
This committee's done for years.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's okay.
This committee has done.
The school committees?
This school committee, yes.
By a
You're part of it.
majority vote, by a majority vote, yes.
Yes.
Oh, this committee's sitting right now, yes.
Yes, you're part of it, Karen.
Well, in the past, that wasn't always the case, but.
All right, now,
Correct.
can we move on? Because I thank Karen for bringing up what I said, and I meant what I said, that if there was ever a time to work together, now is the time to work together. The next item on our agenda is the Policy Committee report. Jessica Beauchesne.
So we are working on the mask policy, which just so you know, I would like to just quickly read what RIDE has written. According to RIDE, masks are required in the K-12 setting, even when students are in stable groups and socially distanced. The Rhode Island Department of Health understands and supports the exceptions to wearing masks for health considerations and outlined in the CDC guidance. That is what RIDE has written. We are coming up with our own. However, RIDE has published that, and that is what RIDE has. It is my understanding that we have signs that will be displayed in front of all of our schools. There will be a policy in front of you by our next school committee meeting. However, with RIDE's own masks wearing policy, I'm not really sure why we need our own, but we're going to have our own anyway. Our own will include the bus and any property aligned to our schools as well. So that is what we have, and that's it. That's what I got.
Any questions?
Jess, if I may, as a follow-up, Jess, on the policies, going back a couple meetings on, we did the naming policy. And the issue of the high school came up, and so we took that vote that if in fact senior was in the name of the high school, that it would be officially removed. I believe at least everything that I've looked at officially with the state of Rhode Island just says East Providence High School. So I don't think that
wait, hold on before you continue. Mr. Gibbons, you might want to pay close attention to this.
So I don't believe that there's a reason for us to make that second vote to solidify that name. It is East Providence High School, not East Providence Senior High School. But with that, East Providence High School, as all the signage for the new high school will state. But again, in the interest, Charlie, of working together, let's also get ahead of that and squash the rumor that is still out there as recently as this week from a local local campaign that's running that's basically saying that that there's a movement to name the high school after Principal Crowley. And you know, I'm sorry. I mean, principal, superintendent. I call you principal. I demoted you, Superintendent Crowley.
I feel good
And
anyway. Good.
so, but right, so that's more on me. So I guess it's necessary that I go on record in saying that I've never said that. And if any member of this committee can maybe now publicly let their people know that they've never heard that come out of my mouth or anybody else's mouth. It's never been a topic of conversation. I would like, as a community, to move forward and finally put that nasty, divisive idea away and let this superintendent and her administration continue to do the great work that they're doing. And you know, that's it. Again, positivity. You know, if you got to get ahead by throwing mud, please stay home.
Okay. That will not be a policy. That's good. Moving on.
Moving on. Building committee report. Joel Montero.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, can you, sorry, I didn't mean to call you Ben, but Ben, can you give me sharing rights so I can just share this?
Of course. Yep.
Is that possible?
Of course. Yep. You're all set. You
So
share
folks,
now.
what I'm going to show you, is the building committee report that will be presented to the building committee next week. You know, normally we have our meetings the Monday before, but with election, everything got distorted. So this, as you see, it says draft as I scroll down, but I wanted to bring it to you because I thought there was some images as well as some information that the public would want to know. So I'll give you what we know. So again, DOT permitting, that's related primarily to the main entrance that will be aligned with the shopping center. You know, and there's more surveying that was completed August 31st, and that process continues to move on as planned. Nothing major there. Monthly meetings here that I'm scrolling at the top. One of note is the week ending September 25th. You're going to have a safety meeting. So police department, fire department, and our building team, not the building committee, but the Gilbane and Peregrine and AI3, they'll be getting together and they're going to be discussing all the different safety features of the building.
Sorry, Joel, to interrupt. I don't
Wait,
see.
I don't see it.
Sorry.
You don't see it?
Nope.
Oh, no, hold on. I'm sorry, folks. I should probably.
Got it. There we go.
Let's see.
All right, folks. All right. That's my error. So
I'm still seeing.
You heard me along. That's just bullets, right? So I'm sorry.
I'm just seeing a white screen. Is anybody else seeing the screen share?
Just a white screen, Ben.
Just a white screen.
White screen.
White screen.
What's the problem, man?
I was following you with what you were saying.
You may want to try stopping sharing. Just share your whole desktop if that's. Is this a laptop?
Oh, it's a Mac.
Okay. Might be permissions in the Mac. It can be a little
All right.
sensitive on sharing permissions.
Well, that stinks. So I'll just
send me the document. I can share it out.
Yeah, hold on. Because I just so as I talk to it, and then Ben, just if you could just go to the images at the bottom.
Of course. Once I get it from you.
All right, hold on. Let me know if you got that.
All right, got it. Let me crap.
All right, so, all right, you got it. So again, commissioning update. So the commissioning agent has gone through and basically done site visits, 4 visits on the envelope. Last one was August 26th, and mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire had 1 visit on the 27th. So upcoming milestones, we got window glazing to begin this month, as well as rooftop unit installation. So your HVAC units will be going on the rooftop this month. And then they'll start those up in January. Millwork, casework to begin in February. So again, the idea is to get those units started up once the building is sealed in so that they can bring in all the interior work. All right, and I see Ben's bringing that up. So as it comes into focus, maybe? Is that going to focus, Ben, or no?
I'm not sure. Let me try sharing it. Hang on. Upload.
All right. So while he's doing that, millwork casework, I said in February, and then you've got the next building committee meeting is we've got one next week, and then October 12th will be the next one. And I'm gonna once this is approved by the building committee, then we'll get this final one out to the school committee. Ben, how are we doing?
Can you see that now?
Yeah,
All right.
I can see it.
It's not in focus.
Oh, mine's in focus. Nope.
See if I make it a little wider.
There you go. Yeah, so can you go down now to just go down to the photos, and I'll just kind of.
Sure.
These are the points that I ran through, and now, so here you have to the left, if it comes into focus, that's the field house that's going out in the back by the track and football soccer field. Okay. So there'll be concessions, bathrooms, so forth. And then what you're looking at on the right is just an idea of some of the fiber cement, or what they call cementitious siding, going up the brown and the tan. Scroll down a little bit, Ben, if you could. You'll see some of the interior, the drywall, window frames are in, the taping and modding in the rooms. Then you've got the plumbing and the HVAC ductwork going in. You see that there. Now as we roll down, we'll see some full photos of the building. You've got the front building, which we can see from the current student lot. Okay, and again, they're working from zone 4, which is to the right, all the way back. So it's progressing inside as well in that direction. On the back, that east elevation, that's basically standing on the football field. Those big, huge mounds are gone, and they've started leveling that and putting in drainage systems. And you can see the back of the building. If you look all the way to the right, you can see where there's that overhang. That's your walking track that is going around the gymnasium, and will be glass overlooking. Just basically behind, there'll be bleachers that will be set down. So you have a nice view there. If you can scroll a little bit more. Again, you have your south and north elevation. So on the left, the south elevation, this is on the PCD side. That would be the auditorium. And if you look up at the top, you can get a better idea of what the siding is looking like with the brown and the lighter tan trim. And then you see that stair tower. And then on the right for the north elevation, again, this is a side of the gymnasium. That walking track is coming from the back side and then around to this north elevation as well. So you have glass exposure and then the other tall staircase on this end of the building. So things are progressing. Principal Gibbons, I look forward to taking you through the tour next week. And Again, even, knock on wood, the COVID piece has been manageable, and the new setup for COVID screening for the work site, as I said, is much less expensive, but just as effective and safe for our workers, and it seems to be running pretty efficiently. So, is there any questions? I'll take those now.
No questions.
All right.
Looks
Thanks,
amazing.
sir. No, it is. They're really doing a great job.
Well, we'll move on then. The next item, discussion items. Number one is turning Oldham School property back to the city. Now, my thought on this is before COVID, space was at a premium in our schools. We were, in my opinion, many of our schools are populated to the max. So I am concerned about where we're going in a year, in 5 years, even in 10 years, where we're going as a school district and where our kids are going to be going. So I am one member of the school committee, and this is on as a discussion item because I wanted to hear the thoughts that the rest of you have on our population. Now, I know we're in the middle of COVID, but I think we need to at least consider where we're going to be as a city and our population in the future.
So Charlie, if I may, not to, my
ward.
So let me give you a little bit of. I was surprised to see this on the agenda. However, not as surprised as I should be because right. But I'm assuming, Charlie, that the mayor had approached you because the mayor did ask me this question last week, and I'll tell you what my response to the mayor was. He said that there were interested developers, as seems to be the discussion, and my direct words to the mayor were this. In 2012, when I showed up here and the budget commission was in place, our budget was a fiasco, and the budget commission said you cannot pay to keep every school open. You will close a school. Myself and the late Dr. DeGoes, God rest his soul, sat and looked at the enrollment numbers and the predictions that the state threw at us, and they were contradictory. We made the argument. Again, as most of us know, the budget commission, that law basically superseded anything. And they said, we don't care what you say, you're closing the school. But on that day, when we had to make that unanimous vote, we knew that we were in need of 9 elementary schools and not 8. I believe we have 8, 7, 8 where we're at now, but we needed every school.
Concern, Joe.
So, right. So I shared this with the mayor, and what I said to the mayor is I said, well, Mayor, if you are successful with your development of the city, then we're bursting at the seams now. We're going to be in more need of space. So what is your plan for an educational building in the city? And I said, until we have that discussion to understand that plan, I don't think that there should be any discussion of turning over any city property, any school property to the city. Now, and I'll go a step further in saying that neighborhood needs a school. That neighborhood needs a school. So it was needless to say that conversation went probably shorter than what I just stated right now. And I think he understood where I stood.
So I'm going to just speak because this is my ward and I'm going to speak. So, and I apologize because my children just walked in and they're going to keep walking. Thank you. I know nothing about this. I saw it on the agenda. I saw the mayor the day that Diana Clarkin and I did the bus. I saw him at breakfast. Never mentioned anything to me about this. Saw him in person, face to face. Knew nothing about this. Saw it on the agenda, but I didn't think much about it. I also have an empty 2 buildings, Platt Waters, in my ward that are empty. Nothing's been done to them. My councilman knows nothing about this. I am not ready to turn this over. I know we haven't done anything with it. I also know, and I am fiscally responsible, and I believe my superintendent and my administration are fiscally responsible, so I am not throwing anybody under the bus, that I know that we could probably extend Oldham or Waddington, which would be cheaper principal-wise and administration-wise, if we could do that with our, you know, adding on and doing that stuff, because we wouldn't need more administrators. I just don't think during COVID and during a pandemic is the time to be handing over any kind of property. I went through Waddington today. Thank you, Mr. Fiola, for doing that with me. 523 students are listed at Waddington. We don't have 523 students attending Waddington. We could. They're welcome to attend Waddington. They are absolutely, if they wanted to attend Waddington tomorrow on Monday, they could. That's more than Riverside Middle School. So we need to understand that we have developments off of Wampanoag Trail being developed. We have developments all over the city happening. Redistricting may be in the future. We don't know what's happening. That is a nice piece of land. It is also a neighborhood we're looking at the time in 2000, if I'm not mistaken, when 2.3 million of rehab to be, I'm sure it's well than that right now. I think we're keeping up with that property. That property is not badly, the ground always is nicely done. It is not a bad looking property. I know for a fact that we need to do something. Right now, it is not the time to give it back to the city. I don't know what the city wants with it. By the public comments earlier and by the public comment, I only received one email about this. I just want you all to know. By the one email today that I received about it, it seems like it is supposed to be going to, and the text message I just received as I'm speaking, to units for housing. That's all I know. So this is news to me. This has not been brought to my attention at all as a public official in the city of East Providence since 2014. I want everyone to know that. This is me speaking honestly to all of you. This has not been brought to my attention once, except for being on the agenda by the chairman of our school committee.
So as I said, my concern has been, even well before COVID, that we have an issue with space. What's our plan to address that issue? Okay. And that's why this discussion item is on here. As the sitting school committee, what is our plan to address the issue of student growth going forward? Whether or not we turn over, I don't really have a dog in this race as far as turning over Oldham. I'm more concerned about having space for our children, okay? Where do we put our children? And for those of you who don't get it, that's a question. You know, I don't want to wait till the last minute to say, okay, we have a problem. Where are we going to put, as you said, Jessica, over 500 at Waddington? What's the solution to that?
I think we all have a dog in this race. We're all representative of students.
I mean, I don't need to be turning this property over to Oldham. What I need to do is make sure our students are taken care of.
Correct. And I think the way that we do that is, well, right now is just not the time. Right now is not the time. I don't know how we do anything right now. I went through a school where
I don't know how we do anything right now. I don't know how to answer anything right now. I went to a school where I saw desks 6 feet apart.
I would like to see a committee formed similar to a committee that focused on the building of the high school. I think we need to have a group of people, parents, teachers, city employees, school committee people, to focus on enrollment projections, units going up in the city, sewer, water, issues, with new developments. We need some information before we can certainly, and I think it's such a big issue. And Charlie, I think you're absolutely right. I don't think it's just going to be Riverside. This is going to impact.
It's already in my end of town too.
Right,
Karen.
exactly. It's not just one area, but we need to, over a long term. I mean, this can't be done in 2 weeks. And a committee that's going to really pull this apart and look at it very closely, because I agree with you. Time's going to be here before we know it, to where we're going to have kids and not enough room.
Karen,
Is it possible?
Karen, would you agree to serving on a subcommittee? Karen?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Jessica, do you want to serve on a subcommittee?
Sure. And is it possible to table this until
I have no
until
problem
we
with
gather more
that.
information?
No, I think we do need to explore the options with parents, okay? With administration, with teachers.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
Can
To
I-
get
can I-
everybody involved in a subcommittee or in a committee to look at our community. and
Even
how
the
we
city
can-
engineers, even the
Well,
city
yeah.
engineers for the
So-
infrastructure of the city.
Yeah, Karen, actually, that's where I was just gonna go with this, right? And I think it's great to have a committee, but it's getting the right people in there, right? And
Right.
I think this is a situation where we cannot allow the city, and we cannot look at this as a school department issue, a
No.
school department obligation, right? If it is not part of the mayor and the city council's development plan for this city, also from a funding standpoint, because when I told the mayor, I said, we need another school. And the comment was, well, that's going to be more staffing and salaries go up. And I said, yes, well, listen, our budget request this year is definitely a show of partnership. But, let's not forget that, again, compared to other districts in the state, we are below average funded as a percentage of local funding. So I'm talking about increasing school funding without increasing tax dollars,
Right.
taxes on the residents. The appropriations are not consistent with other suburban, very successful cities and towns. We can do better as East Providence, as a city. So that being said, I think that, if I'm on a development team with the city that the mayor's put together, then a neighborhood school, if that's not a sell to sell your city, then I don't know what is. That should absolutely be part of any kind of city development plan going on, and there should be, they should have a vested interest in that, and a financial interest in getting involved at the city level, and to get
And
creative.
I also think,
With Karen and Jessica on this?
Well,
Yep.
I
I'm
can't,
on it, and I will.
you got the
I'll
two.
get some parents on it, and I'd be happy to ask Ricardo if he wouldn't mind being on it as the city council representative.
Of course.
but I also think, Charlie and I had this conversation a while ago. Like, we were even saying, what's the feasibility of additions on some of these schools? Like,
Right.
Francis is full as well.
Right.
Right.
How much property is buildable over there?
You can
Would
always
it be,
go up,
instead
too.
of one school, would it be a better tactic to go to adding on classrooms to existing school? Like this committee, I think, really needs to explore many options.
Right, because at Waddington, Karen, you already have a principal. You could always, it's cheaper to do you already have the staff, you already have the principal. it would be cheaper to add on another secretary, a dean. You already have it. You already have the space. It would be cheaper to go out and up. So there are ways we could do this. And the original old, that's the same thing. You could do out and up too.
But I believe
with the original Oldham, remember, one of the advantages to that is, being in a neighborhood, one, you would definitely have to redistrict, right? Somebody would have to have the spine to say,
Sure.
we're going to district appropriately and not by demographics, right? And I'm just going to be blunt. We've got to cut that out. And if you do that, because now by having that neighborhood school, what else are you looking at? Yes, you've got the administrative costs, and I understand your point on that, Jessica, right? Now you weigh transportation costs.
Yeah.
Right. So you reduce that, because now you're not transporting kids halfway across, a section of the city to go to an expand. So you're right. There's a lot of different things that need to be weighed in on that. But I would hope, again, first and foremost, I would hope that the mayor and his team do see this as part of their growth and development of the city,
But we also have
and not a burden.
Right. We have an administration right now with so much knowledge. We have Catherine and Sandy and Celeste with so much knowledge. I wouldn't want to deny these 3 people with all this knowledge that couldn't help us. I have no idea why daughter's phone is calling.
Already have a graphic study that's done that we can resurrect from high school, that we had 2 done. And so we have those available. We can get them out to you. So you
I wouldn't want to, what do they say? Reinvent the wheel here? Yeah,
you want to do that. You already have some studies that we can get out to you. And of course, you look at your enrollment sheet and you can see that what the total enrollment is for each grade level at the present time. And so we're a little bit lower this year than last year.
We are, yes.
And that could be to COVID and homeschooling.
Right.
I'm saying there's a lot of things that are interfering with a real number this year. But I think you start with your demographic studies that you have. And because we belong to NEASC, every year we get a free demographic study of the city. So we can also get that to you.
So why don't we, Karen and I are very good at meetings. So why don't we plan on meeting? I'll reach out to Ricardo, and I'll send him an email or a text, see if he's willing to join on. And I've got some PTA presidents and see if they're willing to join on, and we'll see if we can get some people to do it and see what we can do.
So I'm not looking for a vote to turn this over to the city.
No.
Okay. I think this committee needs to get working, and I'm sure there are good people there on it. So that's great. Thank you very much. But we need to have this discussion, all of us, together.
Yes.
Okay.
Charlie, now that everybody had some say, and I just sat here,
Thank you, Tony.
and I love to hear everything about, with all these committees and stuff, and Joel, I agree with you. The mayor's pushing big time to get this piece of property back. He reached out to all of us. I don't know how it got on the agenda, but I guess Charlie put it. Charlie, did he contact you to put it there? And when he reached out to me, I had explained to him he's got to go out, meet with the superintendent, get the roster with the population of the students now, come back to us, let us know where he plans on putting 15, 20, 25 kids that 12 house development would bring in a blink of an eye. And I explained to him, you're only going to bring in on the high side, if they're nice, medium to high end homes, you're going to probably bring in $90,000 in tax revenue. It seems like a lot of money. You do the math and divide that by 7 kids, you already dug a hole on that piece of property without putting in trash removal. We're getting to the point we have to put on more rescues, engine companies, right? Out of a lot of things, what everybody said, the 600 units, and I call it J.D. Anthony from when we were little, up on Wampanoag Trail, Jess. That is all zoned for that. So that's not like Metacomic that they got to go in front of it. That's a legal development. If somebody wants to build that, which there's really good talk it is, just like Charlie said, up at his end, up in the Pawtucket line there. Those 220 units. They're looking at 4-story building. That is legally zoned for exactly what these people want to put there. So once again, what does that mean? They don't even have to come in front of zoning to look for rezoning changes. And we've been talking about, the population, brought it up, me and Joel, over the last few years, where, and Joel, the 4 or 5 years already went by, and now we see the developments, they're already on our doorsteps, and that's why, in other words, and my honest opinion is we can't lose sight of where we were at Martin. We were all on board with the problem with Martin. We sent this study into there. We were looking at over hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that feasibility plan, to look to rebuild that. They came back with some stunning numbers. We stopped that project completely. We have to stay focused. When we put these kids into elementary schools, in a blink of an eye, where do we send them next at that point? We also got to look at what Martin is on the verge of saying, could we do 4 or 5 years with some really good Band-Aids going forwards at some point in the near future? We may have to look at serious dollars there. I love, if you guys want to meet, the first thing we should do is look at money. What are we looking for to get revenue to support even the discussion to start adding on additions? This is a serious problem that we've known about for the last 4 or 5 years, that's how quick time goes by. This situation is in front of us, and the downside is we have the city pushing for development, but they're not offering solutions to the situation that we have. To me, that situation should have been talked about as soon as these developers come to the city, set up a meeting with us, sit down and say, it doesn't got to be big, sit down with Kathy, to see, okay, we're thinking about doing something up in Rumford. What do you think that's going to do for the schools there? As far as what I'm being told, them meetings never take place. These developers come into the city, they want to add hundreds of units. There's no study to say, what can we do with 20, 30 kids possibly in the next year? And like I said, we look at right across from the Teamsters, those 2 houses going up over there. That property used to be, Joe, you remember, Tony's greenhouse, no kids in there for 80 years. There's 2 beautiful homes going there. If 2 or 3 kids go there, that's a hole for the city. It's going to cost us $45,000, $50,000 to educate them. Property tax, we're only going to get, if on the high side, $16,000, $17,000. I don't know why certain people in the city think by going with residential homes is the fix to the tax base. It's not. It's the businesses bringing. The businesses plow their own parking lots. They get rid of their own trash. They maintain their own properties. The city should be focusing more on the Warren Avenue stretch that needs a lot of work, the Taunton Avenue, or try to get small businesses in there. Right now, there's a major land shortage in Rhode Island, and that's why we see these developers looking into the city of East Providence to put these massive housing, situations there. 100, 200 units, and I got to be honest with you, if they're going to say it's only going to impact us by 2 or 3 kids, I don't think there's anybody sitting up here with us that would believe that. So I think if there's a committee going to be putting forwards, the first item we got to look at is to say, where is the funding coming from this? Me, Kathy, Craig, we met a couple times. Then we brought it back to the school committee. Once we realized we didn't even want to pay for the feasibility study to continue at Martin because of the cost just to get that information, we put that on the back burner. That's on the back burner. Now we're looking for, to go and revamp some schools. It's something we have to put on the front burner, focus on it. I don't want to say every meeting, but just mark it on an old-fashioned whiteboard and say, we get in there every meeting to see if we're accomplishing this, because these developments are in the city, they're being built, and someday we're going to wake up shortly and need more buses, and we know what the bus cost is. So I think we got to stay more without the city at first. If Jess wants to be the lead runner, whoever does.
Well, I don't have the best relation with the city, as you know. So maybe
what I'm saying, Jess, is focus on it, like for the school side first.
Yeah.
You got to remember, Jess, if somebody on the city wants something, you know how that goes. They're going to say, "Oh yeah," they're going to bring in all of that team to influence that, it's a great thing to go this route. We got to go back to them and say, here's what we came up with, counter react on needs.
Right.
And
Tony,
I
you
asked
and
him to come back
Tony,
with,
you guys-
with a plan to do 20 kids. He never come back to it with me.
Tony, you and I used to sit in the audience at every city council meeting when these developers used to come in, and we were like, they were like, don't worry, 5.5
Yeah.
kids. That's it, 5.5 kids. And we're like, okay, 5.5 kids. We, you know, this new high school, all this stuff, people are gonna come in here. We're gonna have more kids. We definitely, it's gonna be, you know, we definitely, this is something we can work on. I think Charlie's got a good point. I commend you, Charlie. It may not have come up the right way in discussion item, but I do think a committee is the right way to go.
Look, I just want to thank the 4 other school committee members because I think that's a great discussion. And I think we're all on the same page. So thank you all for that. And
Yep.
and I think we've started down the right path.
Yes, I agree.
The next
And what-
item is grading, Ms. Beauchene.
So I asked this question, and I know it's late, and I do want to try to get through this as fast as I can. I asked this question only because last year there was a difference in grading because of COVID, because of distance learning, and it's come to my attention through a lot of people that are distance learning again, through distance learning versus in person, how the grading will go. I brought this up to the superintendent and she suggested that I put it on the agenda, and I think it's great that we're going to discuss it. Hopefully there are still people paying attention to this meeting so that they can, if not, they can rewatch the meeting so that a lot of questions will be answered. So this is up for them.
So Sandy, if you want to take the lead on that grading, I know that the principals are in discussion with Dr. Ferran about the grading, and so I'm going to let her take the lead on that.
So one of the things that came out of the reopening committee was that we would need to look at a grading policy. So that is something that we will be forming a committee to discuss. Teaching and Learning Subcommittee did bring that up, and there has been some beginning stages of discussion, but we will be approaching that soon. We just want to get open first.
Okay, so will it be the same no matter if you're distance learning or if you're in person?
It will be. Teachers are grading everyone. So like
Okay.
you may have in-person and distance on your roster, so it needs to be consistent. So we need a consistent grading policy. If we need to change the policy at all, I think that's best for a committee to discuss at the different levels.
So should we revisit this at our next meeting then? Is that best?
I don't know if I'll have a committee up and running by then. I'm assuring you we're going to have a committee. I mean, I can bring a report back to you once that committee starts to meet. If you'd like me to do that, I won't have anything new for you next meeting.
Okay.
On that, I just want people to be able to get their classrooms going before we ask them to serve on another committee right now.
Okay. So I guess then we'll just continuously update people. I know this is a big deal, especially for people who have juniors and seniors going into high school. I've had a lot of questions being asked of me.
It's not going to be like it was in the spring, I can tell you that, because we're not doing distance learning the same way. So, I mean, we're doing live learning. Teachers will be teaching their classes to students at home. So, I mean, there will be, expectations. And we did talk about this meeting, that students need to be there all of the time. So we won't be amending the grading policy to what it was in the spring.
So is it okay if I'm wrong, say I'm wrong. I'm okay with being wrong, just so everyone knows I'm okay with that. It won't be as lenient as it was in the spring.
No, we had to really adjust at the last minute, and it was really it was really difficult to get that up and running. So we definitely have solid plans in place for distance learning and for in-person learning, and the grading will reflect that.
And we are expecting children to come to school, whether you are distance learning or you are in person, you are to come to school and you are expected to do the work, correct?
Absolutely.
Your grade will reflect that.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I think he answered my question anyway.
The next one is update on sports, and I said I would do that. The Rhode Island Interscholastic League made an announcement at the beginning of last week that the fall sports would be cross-country, girls tennis, and soccer. Football and volleyball will be pushed to, they call it a second winter season, sometime in February. At least that's the plan right now, that football would begin in February. Soccer, I was surprised that soccer was going to run, but there are going to be all sorts of parameters around soccer to keep students safe. The rules will be the same, I am told, but there are certain regulations that the coaches and the schools will have to follow in order to have the boys and girls soccer. So we're waiting to see just what those regulations will be. But those are the sports, both at the middle school and the high school, that would be running in the fall.
No middle school.
Middle school will run sports, yes.
So now they've said yes to middle school?
Yes, middle school and high school, that's a different league. But on the paper that I got, they said that the middle schools were going to be following what the Interscholastic League was doing, but Toby's saying no, so maybe he knows something.
Because Mr. Amore.
Rip Coa announced the cancellation of fall sports 2 days ago.
Because
all right, so that
he told you, that's why Mr. Amore gave me sad face, sad face, sad face, sad face.
Oh,
and
I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
I am going to fight Ripcoa. I'm going to fight middle school sports because I don't understand. Toby can come back on if he wants. I don't understand the reasoning for what the difference. That's why I was hoping Mr. Murray would be here. I don't understand the reasoning for why we can't have middle school sports. As the president of a
Rob texted me too. No middle school sports, so that was
okay. Tell Rob. Tell Rob he can come on too. I don't understand why we can't have.
I mean, you can. Patty Wall is the president of that, isn't she, Toby? Still, I think. And so you can contact her, but if they've made that statement, then the board of directors have decided that it's not for the middle school. There's really nothing you'd be able to do about that.
Oh, but there is.
Oh, okay, you can try.
We had them before when there was no middle school sports.
You can try.
We can run them ourselves.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand, and that's why that's why I put it on the agenda. Like, I don't understand why we wouldn't be offering cross country, which is boys and girls, and there would be no issue.
I don't know. I mean, we can call tomorrow. I can have Mr. Amori call, give a write-up.
No, so, I mean, I got to trust the man who knows more than I do, but that's why I kind of wanted to ask the question. I don't understand. I didn't understand if high school can do it, why middle school couldn't do it. And we need an outlet for these kids, and there is no outlet. And I am president of a nonprofit organization that funds middle school sports. So that's why I'm asking.
No middle school sports. I can only tell you what they told us.
All set, Jessica?
Not really. I'm not happy.
Well, we'll talk about this again, okay?
Okay. We sure will.
Oh.
The next item is how students are meeting their teachers, Ms. Beauchene.
I think all I wanted to know was if there was any creative ways that any of our schools were doing anything creative to do anything wonderful to meet our teachers. If there was any ways, because I know around the districts they're doing things.
Lisa Peter at Orlo, because she was talking to me, they are having an ice cream truck and they're having a drive-by with the parents and their students, and the teachers are going to be there, and they're distancing to try to keep that community interaction going. So I know that that's what Lisa's doing. Sandy or Celeste, do you know of any other events like that that are going on in the elementary or middle?
I
I know
We have
meeting.
We have all the distance learning pickups at the elementary school. So I know like a lot of teachers, I saw White Next today, a lot of teachers have created bags, take home bags with different activities, different supplies for their students. I don't know of any other organized events like the ice cream truck.
Oh, yeah, I'm just talking to Lisa. That's how I know that that's what they wanted to do.
Okay, thank you.
But I would think they would be in their communication that they send out. So if you look at that weekly, you might find out. But we're going to meet with them tomorrow and we can ask that question and I can send it out to all of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now we're on to action items. The first is consider and vote to approve bill list. What is the committee's pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
A second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Yeah.
I would ask for a motion to table number 2.
Oh, shoot.
I'll make a motion to table number 2.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider and vote to approve high school principal contract.
I make a motion.
Is there a
I'll second. I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No nays. Motion carried. Congratulations.
Welcome, Mr. Gibbons. Welcome.
Listen, you've been baptized by fire by hanging out for this meeting.
Thank you. That's why I was taking my thing. I was taking a little snack. My wife and I are going to celebrate by heading out to dinner as soon as this is over.
Oh, geez.
My wife is sitting here. My wife has been sitting here watching. Say hi to my wife.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So yeah, we're just waiting. We're just enjoying learning.
No, go ahead and go. We're pretty much done. Enjoy the night.
You can
Yeah.
send our apologies to her now.
Until the next
have
time.
a drink on me.
You just
Until the
did.
next time.
That's it. All right. All right. Thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to seeing you all.
Good night.
Good night.
Joel, do you have any objection to approving items 4 through 8, which are all high school construction items?
Correct. And Mr. Chairman, just to inform the committee, even though we didn't have a building committee, what we did is we sent the invoices to the building committee members for review, allowed feedback. Everybody reviewed and approved. I think we had all but, in full disclosure, I think all but 2 members had time to respond. I had responded by this afternoon so that, and there were no questions. So everything is ready for approval. So the building committee approves these invoices and we're asking for those. And if you'd like Craig to run through the list, we can. I know Craig is available.
I believe you.
So if you could just run down the list with the amounts and
Sure.
again, these
Sure.
have all been vetted, absent an official meeting, but we didn't want to delay.
Sure. AI3 for the basic services, $122,474.84. Peregrine Group, $59,000. Filch Engineering, $17,445. Stephen Turner Inc., $5,280.25. And Gilbane Construction, $9,600,826.26 for a grand total of $9,805,026.35.
Just kidding.
I'll
Today's
move
pleasure.
to approve.
There's a motion to approve.
I'll
And make
second.
that-
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? The motion carries. The next item is public comment 2, non-agenda items. Ben, Sharon, do we have any?
Do not have any more public comment.
Is there any announcements?
I would just like to make everyone have a good first day of school.
Absolutely.
Jessica, I just emailed Patty Wall to get back to me with some reasons why no middle school sports, and I'll send them to you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I just hope everyone, best of luck and be safe, everybody out there. And
Thank you. We
Best
Be
appreciate
safe, be
to
patient.
everybody. And
you.
thank you. And
And
thank
have
you,
a
everybody.
better
out
year this year. Better year.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
a big year for us all.
Every single one of you out there.
Ms. Oliveira, is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Is there
I
a
will
second?
second that.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Night.